Welcome into the world of HTML. 3. Boot up your computer.
Windows sign in dialog.
2. Grab some comfort food. 1. And let's go. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Quinn here, and I'm back with another video in the HTML series. Yes, I missed a couple of uploads, but I'm back and it's Christmas break, so I have more time to make and upload videos for you guys. So, in today's video, we will actually be doing CSS margins. But before we get into it, please be sure to like the video if you love the content, subscribe if you're new, and to turn on that notification bell to be alerted whenever I post the next video. And I mean it, because if you don't, sometimes even 5 days after I upload, you're just getting the notification. So you have to make sure that you're not just subscribed, but your notification bell is turned on. Also note that the instrumentals for this video have been provided by Inner Sanctum Entertainment Ltd. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so most of you should know what margins are, right? If you've used Microsoft Word, we would set the page margin. Now that would be the space in between the words on the page itself and the actual edge of the page. That is what is called the margin in Microsoft Word. Now in CSS, margins are used to create space around elements outside any defined borders. Now remember, I did a video on the CSS box model and I said, imagine that every element has a box around it. You know, it would have a top side, a right side, a bottom side, and a left side. And the edges of that box would be its border. Outside of the border is where we have the margin. If you missed that video, you need to get back to it. And watch the borders video while you're at it as well. Now margins are great, especially when you want to put some space in between your elements. Like say for example, you have two buttons side to side and you don't want them to be, as we would say, etched on together. You want some amount of space in between them. Or if you have headings or paragraphs and you want a certain amount of space in between each paragraph. So those are different ways that margins can be used, as well as defining the space in between all the text, all the content on your web page to the edge of the computer screen. So in CSS, there are properties to set the margins for each side of an element: top, right, bottom, and left. To specify the margin for each side of an element, you would use either margin-top, margin-right, margin-bottom, or margin-left. Now each of these properties can have one of 4 values. These are auto. This allows the browser to calculate the margin. Length. This specifies the margin in length units such as pixels, points, centimeters, etc. Percent. This specifies a margin in a percentage of the width of the containing element. Inherit. This specifies that the margin should be inherited from the parent element. Here is an example of setting different margins for each side.
H1 left brace. 2 space margin dash top colon, 10 px semi. Margin dash bottom colon, 20 px semi. Margin dash right colon, 50 px semi. Margin dash left colon, 80 px semi. No indent right brace.
And let me just read one of them to you by character so you see how the word is spelled.
margin-left colon, space 80 px semi.
Now let's move on to the shorthand property. It is also possible to specify all the margin properties in one property. We can do this with the shorthand margin property. This property can have 1 to 4 values and they must be written in this order: margin-top, margin-right, margin-bottom, and margin-left. So here is an example if the margin property has 4 values.
Margin colon, 5 px 10 px 15 px 20 px semi.
And let's go through this by character.
margin colon, space 5 px space 1 0 px space 1 5 px space 2 0 px semi.
There you go. So you see that each value is separated by a space. In this example, the top margin is 5 pixels, the right margin is 10 pixels, bottom margin is 15 pixels, and the left margin is 20 pixels. Here is an example if the margin property has 3 values.
Margin colon 5px 10px 15px semi.
In this example, the top margin is 5 pixels. The right and left margins are 10 pixels. And the bottom margin is 15 pixels. What about if the margin property has 2 values? Well, here is an example.
Margin colon 5px 10px semi.
In this example, the top and bottom margins are 5 pixels, and the right and left margins are 10 pixels. And if the margin property has 1 value, for example,
margin colon 5px semi.
In this example, all 4 margins are 5 pixels. Also note that you can use negative numbers for margins, and negative numbers will draw an element closer to its neighbor than it was set by default. Alright, now let's move on to using the auto value for the margin properties. You can set the margin property to auto to horizontally center the element within its container. The element will then take up the specified width, and the remaining space will be split equally between the left and right margins. Here is an example.
Div left brace 2 space width colon 125px semi. Margin colon auto semi. No indent right brace.
Now let's move on to the inherit value. This is how it works. Say for instance we have a div element with a paragraph element within it. That would mean that the div element is the parent and the paragraph element is the child. So if we set the margins of the div element to be 5 pixels and we want the same for the paragraph element that is in it, we can simply do this.
Div left brace 2 space margin colon 5px semi. No indent right brace. Blank. P left brace 2 space margin colon inherit semi. No indent right brace.
And there you go. So it would inherit the margin of its parent. Now before I end this video, there is one more thing that you should know. Vertical margins, which are top and bottom margins of adjacent block level elements, are collapsed into a single margin. The size of this space is equal to the largest of the 2 margins. This only happens on top and bottom margins and not right and left margins. Block level elements are those that always start on a new line and take up the full width of their container. Some examples of block elements are the paragraph and the div elements. You can find more information on block elements and a complete list of them via the link down below in the description, and the link will also be on the transcript. So say we have this example.
H1 left brace 2 space margin colon 0050px 0 semi. No indent right brace. Blank. P left brace 2 space margin colon 20px 000 semi. No indent right brace.
In this example, the H1 element has a bottom margin of 50 pixels, and the paragraph element has a top margin of 20 pixels. Say in the HTML code, the H1 element was placed on top of the paragraph element. We would look at it at first and say 50 plus 20 is 70. So the space between the two would be 70 pixels. But due to margin collapse, the space between the two would actually be the largest of the two, which is 50 pixels. And that is it for CSS margin, guys. Yes, I know this was a short one, but it was short and it was spicy. And expect another upload coming up this week as well. I'm not sure if I can push out 3 uploads this week or more, but I'm trying to make up for the lost time with you guys. So make sure to show me the support by liking, subscribing, sharing with friends. Also remember that the transcript for this video will be provided down below in the description, the link to it, and you can also find it on my website. where you can find all my YouTube content and materials and find out how you can hire me for my services. But that is it, guys. We're looking forward to the Christmas holidays, trying to get in as much fun and relaxation as possible. But that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and it was helpful. Remember to show some support on the video, share it with others. I love you guys and I'll see you next time.